Welcome into New Orleans Saints now. I'm your host, Trey Gerard, and today we're discussing the top quarterback options if the Saints miss out on Derek Carr. But before we get into that, I want you guys to let me know, do you even want the Saints to sign Derek Carr? Not saying should they, I'm saying do you want them to? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section. But without further ado, I want to break down some quarterback options else if Carr signs elsewhere. First one on the list, and this is going to be the one that y'all are all going to be in love with, Lamar Jackson. Yep. Could he be a New Orleans Saint? I don't know. Probably not, but it could happen. Currently, right now, Lamar Jackson odds are showing the Falcons plus 300, Bucs are plus 500, and some sources are saying that offensive coordinator candidates who interviewed with the Ravens were not given full assurances that Lamar Jackson will be the quarterback next season. Baltimore was clear that they want Lamar back, but truly doesn't know what the offseason holds for their quarterback. Completion percentage, 62.3 completion percentage, 2,242 yards in the air, 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, 112 carries for 764 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. Lamar Jackson is a quality football player, and I can honestly say this. I'm actually terrified, and I'm very worried that he might end up in the NFC South. I could see the Falcons, I've seen a lot of buzz around them. Weirdly enough, Falcons fans kind of have, like our guy Nick Roloff, our channel manager for the Falcons channel we have here at Chat Sports, has been saying a lot of Falcons fans want to run it back with Desmond Ridder, and I just have to say that that's hilarious. I'm just going to laugh at the Falcons fans. If you want to join me, type LOL in the comments, because how could you realistically say you want Desmond Ridder over Lamar Jackson? I'm worried that he might end up in the NFC South. I could see the Bucs, Panthers, and the Falcons all going in on him or trying to go get him. Panthers, not as much because they do have a high draft pick. They might be able to get a guy like Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young if one of those guys fall. But I'm worried Lamar Jackson can end up in the NFC South, and that would not be good news for the Saints. So maybe you go and get him. Next one's on the list. There's been some buzz about Baker Mayfield, some articles and some tweets going out saying that if the Saints don't bring in Derek Carr, if things don't work out, they should turn to the former Oklahoma Sooner in Baker Mayfield, who spent last year part of the season with the Panthers, was traded to the Panthers, in the offseason, was cut by the Panthers during the season, was brought in by the Rams towards the end of the season, 60% completion percentage, 2,163 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I just don't know if Baker's that guy. I think he'd be a good culture fit. I think he'd be somebody that you could have a lot of fun with. I just don't know if he's somebody who will who will help you win games. And also, I don't know if he's a guy that you can really ride to help you tank. Like, if that makes sense. I don't think he's bad enough of a quarterback to have you go and tank, but I don't think he's a good enough quarterback to go and have you make a playoff run. Probably not, though. I'm not crazy about Baker Mayfield. Jimmy G, though, he's another name on this list that I think might be interesting. And I think that he's a guy that the Saints should definitely go and explore. Before he got hurt this season, 67.2 completion percentage, 2,437 yards in the air, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, And I just think that Jimmy Garoppolo is one of those guys that he's a game manager. He's not going to be the reason you lose games. He's not really going to be the reason you win games. He's going to do exactly what he's done his entire career and be good enough. He's going to manage the field. He's going to manage the offense. He's going to manage the flow of the game. And he's going to make the Saints, or he's going to help the Saints produce and do things not great, not bad. I think that he could be somebody who you could be realistic with and also have a little bit of fun with. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section. And I meant to have 3 people on this list. So let me know. If you pick a quarterback, type DC if you would rather have Derek Carr. Type BM if you would rather have Baker Mayfield. And type JG if you would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo. Let me know in the comment section. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break. If you do, sound off with your thoughts in the comments. All right, this one is interesting. I brought this trade idea up earlier this offseason, and it got very mixed reviews. I got a lot of people saying, it ain't ever happening. I got a lot of people saying, oh my God, drop everything you're doing and make this happen yesterday. Please, for the love of God. And I bring him up as a trade target because Jason LaConfora, if I have the pronunciation incorrect, I'm so sorry, y'all. But he said more than one NFL GM came away from the Senior Bowl fairly convinced that Justin Fields will be dealt. And this came in early this morning. Colin Cowherd also spoke on Justin Fields. He said, you really have to think about this and put your pom-poms down in Chicago. Is moving off Justin Fields, here's why. In 2 years, he's been bad and bad. In 2 years, he completes 59%, has a passer rating under 80, has 24 touchdowns and 21 picks. It's bad. And I think that Justin Fields, to play devil's advocate, he has no offensive line. He has no wide receiver help. He has nothing that you can really do to help him be better. All he can really do to show off right now is show how good of a runner he is because he's running for his life every single freaking play. I think the Saints could potentially try and go make a trade for Justin Fields. It would cost you an arm and a leg and probably then some. But if you want somebody like Justin Fields, I think that he fits the mold exactly what the Saints have been saying they want in a dual threat quarterback. So another guy who fits that mold, Trey Lance. And to be honest, y'all, I'm not that high on Trey Lance. I think that Trey Lance, I'm not going to say certified bust, but I'm not going to say he's going to be good. Like, the guy had very limited starts since his time in high school. He's only started, he's played less than 50 games since he started college football. Just saying. And these are the numbers that he's putting up. Obviously, he got hurt very early on. He obviously is a player that has a lot of upside, has a lot of talent. I just don't know if I trust Trey Lance to be the guy, and you'd have to give up a good haul for him because of how young he is and because of the draft capital that the Niners had to give up to ultimately select him at, I believe, number 3 overall. Trey Lance could be an interesting name. I'm not high on it, but it could happen. Who Dat Nation, subscribe if you love the Saints. If you bleed black and gold, this is the number one place to be. We're breaking down news, rumors, draft coverage, and a hell of a lot more. We're going to be providing videos all offseason, so be sure, subscribe, lock us in, turn on your notifications, and join our Who Dat Nation. Join our squad and have some fun this offseason. Get some entertaining and informative analysis. All right, next name on the list, Jacoby Brissett. This is somebody who I think that, honestly, he's I don't want to say a last case scenario or a worst case. Like, I'd rather go Jacoby Brissett than somebody just not good, like just terrible. Like, I'd rather go Andy Dalton over Jacoby Brissett, but Jacoby Brissett still played well when he was with the Browns. I have my reasonings for Andy Dalton. I'll explain those later. But Jacoby Brissett is a talented football player. He did some good things for the Browns while he was filling in, while Deshaun Watson was facing his suspension. 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 64 completion percentage, 2,608 yards in the air. He's a bridge quarterback. That's exactly what he is. That's exactly what he will be. He's not your long-term answer, and he's a guy that, you get maybe 1-2 years out of him. That being said, guys, if you want to get stocked up for the next season or third of the offseason, if you got some fun darties, got some crawfish boils, you got some fun things that you're trying to do this offseason, get geared up at chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. You will get all authentic Nike jerseys. They are legit. They're 100% real. We got Chris Olave. We got Alvin Kamara. We got Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. We got anybody. Taysom Hill, name them. We got them. You can get any size, any color jersey. Go get your gear at chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. I'll have that link for you in the comment section and the description of this video. All right, another name that I have mentioned in previous years, or previous videos in the offseason, and even dating back to last season during the regular season, Gardner Minshew, the backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, lost to the Saints. Let's not forget about that. Let's just remember the fact that the Saints beat the Eagles. Just going to rub that one in for you real quick. Just under 60% completion percentage, 663 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 5 games. It's not that great. I think that he's exactly what I said about Jacoby Brissett. He's a bridge guy. He'd bring a lot of energy. Like, you can't deny that he would bring a lot of energy. I think that he's just one of those players that he's not, like, the Minshew Mania thing is fun. But that's, you get that, once every blue moon. You're not going to get that consistently, which is why I think that you should maybe look elsewhere for a quarterback. I like Gardner Minshew. I don't love him, but I think that he would be an interesting guy in New Orleans. Here's one that's going to, make your moms really pissed off. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson could be traded. The Jets, as we know, they're interested in pursuing Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr right now. They have a very good situation where they have a lot of young offensive weapons, similar to the Saints. but they also have a lot of money, unsimilarly to the Saints. That being said, Zach Wilson, I don't like him. I don't think he's that good. Pro day, phenomenal. It was awesome. You get to the league, see what happens. Like, I mean, even in his days in college football at BYU, he was talking all that talk. He was trying to be some guy who's jawing off and trying to be funny, but he's just, no, I'd rather have Derek Carr over Zach Wilson, and I think that most of y'all would agree with me on that. Yeah, Zach's younger, maybe he has more athletic talent or athletic ability, but I just don't think Zach Wilson would be a fit here in New Orleans. Plus, the dude strikes me as somebody who likes to party, and there's no better party than in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, so probably not a good fit. Last two guys, I'm going to show y'all back-to-back, Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. Andy Dalton is going to be a free agent this offseason. He's a name that you could go and bring back to have the continuity, the familiarity with the scheme, the familiarity with the offense. And I think that is a reason why Andy Dalton is a realistic option if Derek Carr signs elsewhere. I don't see a ton of teams having a huge market to go and get Andy Dalton. I feel like he might be one of those quarterbacks who gets added later on in the offseason or later on towards the end of free agency or as we get closer to the regular season. And Jameis Winston, he's on the roster right now. If it doesn't work out, you definitely have the ability to run it back with Jameis. I personally would like it. I just like Jameis Winston. I like him as a football player. I like him as a culture guy and as a locker room guy and as a leader. He definitely had the team bought in on him. I just know for a fact, and Dennis Allen doesn't want to run it back with Jameis. If he wanted to give Jameis a shot, he would have put him in towards the end of the season. But it'd be like that sometimes. Thank you, Jabo. I appreciate you, but might be the end of your time here in New Orleans, unfortunately. I want you guys to let me know, though, who do you want to be quarterback one in 2023? If you want to get absolutely crazy with it and say, like, Joe Burrow or Drew Brees or Vince Young, I don't care. Like, if you want to get just absolutely crazy, have some fun with it, go at it. But also give me a realistic one. Like, let me know in the comment section, who do you want to be the Saints quarterback in 2023?